Hey guys, I'm Joe. Welcome to the Part-Time Hustle. On this channel, we talk about how you can save money, and make that money grow for you. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of lessons that I've learned in my first 6 months on eBay. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. Talking about lessons learned, they're often learned through mistakes and negative experiences. That will be the case with two things I want to talk about today, but sometimes through good experiences, you can learn some things too. So we're going to talk about two sales that I've made that had some issues and one home run. And we're going to talk about lessons that I learned from each of them. The first sale that I want to talk about is 7 Duluth Trading Company polo shirts that I sold all to the same buyer at the same time. I had them listed separately, but one person bought them. The backstory on this is I was at a thrift store where every Thursday everything's $2, and I'm looking through the rack and I see a Duluth Trading Company polo that looked like it was in really good shape. It was a 3XL, which is a good size. So I put it in my cart, flipped through a few more shirts, found another one, put it in my cart. I got to looking around and I saw another one. I thought I better just see how many of these are here real quick. So I just went looking for those initially, and I ended up finding 7 of them. I was already thinking about buying similar items to make the listing process more streamlined and efficient. So I thought, boy, this is great. I took them home. I laid the first one out where I take pictures, took measurements, read the tag carefully, put it aside, put the next one out, took pictures, took measurements, I read the tag carefully, and along about the third one, I decided, these are all the same shirt. The measurements are all going to be the same. I'm just going to lay them out, take pictures, and use the measurements from the first 3 shirts. So I did that and put them up for sale, and within a few weeks, somebody contacted me and said, would you be willing to make me a deal if I bought all 7 of these shirts that you have for sale? And I said yes. So I could package them all up together, save money in the shipping. I was able to sell them to him for, I think, $3 less than I was asking, and still basically make the same amount of money. So it was a win-win for me. After he got the shirts, he messaged me. I'm saying it could have been not a guy, but I'm assuming the end user was a guy. Anyway, messaged me and said, these are not all long tail t-shirts. I had listed them as long tail because in the collar of at least a few of them it said long tail. And I saw that as a good keyword to list. Turns out they weren't all long tail polo shirts. The long tail shirts are considerably longer in the back, like 2 or 3 inches. And I didn't pick up on that because I had quit measuring after the 3rd shirt. When he messaged me, I got to look at my listing and my pictures real close. I had taken a picture of the back of the collar where it said the size and everything. And sure enough, several of them did not say long tail. So I messaged him back, asked him how he'd like to resolve it. Ended up offering him a small refund on the shirts if he would like to keep them. And he messaged me back after a few days and said, I think they'll work for me. No refund necessary. So I got to learn lessons for free, which doesn't happen all the time. And I learned that you can't take anything for granted. Even if they all said long tail, that doesn't mean that he didn't buy them in different years, and that the previous owner didn't buy them in different years, and that Duluth Trading Company hadn't changed the dimensions of their shirt. They're allowed to do that. It doesn't mean that the previous owner hadn't washed a few of them in hot water and dried them in extreme heat, but not the others. Any number of things that could happen to make shirts not have the same dimensions. Don't ever take for granted that just because they look the same, just because they all say 3XL on them, that they're all going to have the same measurements. If you're going to take time to measure, if you're going to include measurements in your listings, you need to make sure they're correct. That's the lesson I learned. So that going forward, that's the lesson I learned. I also learned that customer service isn't as intimidating as you might make it out to be when you first start. Okay, so about my shirt. It says 22 a day, and then it says Veteran Lives Matter. It's by 9 Line Apparel, which is an awesome company, make awesome products, and they support an awesome cause. I also support a couple of other organizations that incorporate the number 22 in the name of the organization. One of those is Mission 22, and one of them is Awareness 22. If you know the significance of that number, leave a comment down below. If you don't, Watch my next video and we'll talk more about the number 22 and the significance of that to us as Americans. The next item I want to talk about is this duck head long sleeve men's work shirt. Picked this up at the $2 place, so it was cheap. Got it home. It's one of those where I looked at it. I'm not very good at screening, and my eyes are old and tired, and I don't know if it's perfect, but it looked okay to me. I listed it, sold it. When the buyer received it, they messaged me and said, there's some spots on the chest. I don't know if they'll come off in the wash, and just kind of left it. That was their message. They just kind of left it at that. So I messaged them back and initially said, you can try and wash it. It won't affect your ability to return the product. I reminded them that my return policy says that the buyer pays return shipping, but since there appeared to be spots on it that I missed, I would be willing to work with them on that. And I also mentioned that I might be willing to give them like a $3 partial refund. They chose that option. So I still made a profit. I went from making, I think, $8.50 on it to making $5.50. So I didn't lose money on it. And a couple of lessons I learned from that. One of them is I don't do a very good job of screening. I overlook things all the time. And I look at things and I wonder, is that a stain? Is that a shadow? Is that in the future, I'm just going to put those items aside and just ask my wife for a second opinion. Real easy, take her a few minutes and that'll be that. The other thing is I've never utilized the item condition box on eBay very well. I've generally just put in there, item is in good condition, item is in very good condition, item is in fair condition. And on this one I put item is in good condition. And if you say item is in good condition, then you sort of lose the ability to maybe debate a little bit with the buyer about whether or not they should expect it to be perfect. I think going forward, I might start writing something in there like item is pre-owned and show some minimal signs of wear. I feel like maybe that'll cover me a little bit. I don't know. Does anybody else do that? What does everybody else do with that box? I've been looking at other listings. And the other thing I learned is that, customer service is not that difficult. Every time I've gotten a message from a customer up until this point, I get a message and I just get filled with this sense of dread, like, oh my God, no. But I'm learning after having dealt with a few of them that it's not that big a deal. So in this case, it was really easy. And the buyer left me positive feedback. So I think that's the flip side of that is you lose a little bit of profit, but you don't lose any sleep, and maybe you'll get good feedback out of it. So there's the second item I want to talk about and lessons I learned from that. Before I talk about this last product, again, about this shirt, it's a thrift find. That's the best thing. I was going through the thrift store and I saw this shirt for $2. Like, that's not getting sold on eBay. Anyway, the last item I want to talk about is this Robert Graham long sleeve button down shirt. When I saw it in the thrift store at that point, I wasn't really aware of Robert Graham, but it's one that even a newbie like me, I could look at it and just feel it and be like, there's something different about this shirt. There's some quality here. So in the thrift store, I looked up sold comps, and initially when I'm looking up sold comps, I sort it from low to high end pricing. And I saw that many of them routinely were selling for 40 or 50 bucks, and I think it was $5. So I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm going to buy that. When I got home and started doing some more research, I sorted from high to low, and I saw that some of the Robert Graham shirts were selling for 140, 150 bucks. A few more for 120, 130, quite a few for 100 in that range. And I'm looking at the ones that are 100 plus. I'm looking at the ones that are 40 or 50. And I looked at mine and I'm like, this looks a whole lot more like the $100 shirts than it does the $40 or $50 shirts. So I talked to my wife. She's sort of my sounding board. And I kind of explained to her, and I said, I'm thinking about listing this for like $70, and I'll certainly get an offer for 55 or 60. Man, that'll be a great profit. And she said, no, list it high. So what's it going to hurt? List it high and see what happens. So I listed it at 120, and it started getting some traction. Some people were looking at it, and but a month went by, and I really started thinking, I'm going to lower it to 70. I'm going to lower it to 90. I really kept thinking that. But I waited, and finally got an offer for $105. And after expenses, after shipping everything, I made $80 on it. It's my best profit yet. $5 into 80. Really stoked about that. And the lessons learned, the things I really want to remember is you find a really good product, make a really good listing, and be confident in that listing and be patient. You know, $70 with a $50 profit would have been nice, but man, I'll take that $80 profit any day. So anyway, live, learn. I hope that reselling is going great for you or whatever your part-time hustle is. If you found any value in this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one.